After ruling for 7 years in Hebron, David decided to move his capital to the city of Jerusalem. The problem was that the Jebusites were here, and so he needed a way to enter the city and capture it. He issued a challenge to his men, and he challenged them to go up the water shaft. The word in Hebrew is sinor. Sometimes it's translated as pipe, because he knew that would be an entrance into the city, and if they could get someone in there, they maybe have a chance of capturing the city. Joab volunteered for that and was able to successfully get in. For a long time, we didn't understand exactly what that meant in the Bible. But in 1867, a British explorer by the name of Charles Warren came to this land looking for different biblical archaeological sites. And he found this shaft. And he actually climbed up this shaft and discovered this whole tunnel system under here. And he proposed that this was probably the way that the citizens of the Jebusite city came to retrieve their water. And so he proposed that this is the pipe, the water shaft, the sinor that is mentioned in Scripture.
How do we know that this could be that shaft?
This may not have been the exact way that the people retrieved their water at the time, but this is the way Charles Warren came up. There are one or two other shafts in this area that Joab could have come up, but it would have been something very similar to this that would have given him access inside the city.
So it still fits the story, whether it was this shaft or another shaft. There was something just like this that Joab would have come up to help capture the Jebusite city.
That's right.
Why would David ask Joab or one of his men to come up a water shaft in order to help capture a city?
Well, the city of Jerusalem, the ancient Jebusite city, sat on a little peninsula of land that was surrounded by the Kidron, Hinnom, and Central valleys. So it was very defensible. It was very hard to attack the city. I think that's one of the reasons why David wanted the city. There was going to have to be something secret to happen. And as you can see, it wouldn't be very easy to get here. Only one man could come up here. You couldn't pull a whole army. And so probably Joab came up a shaft like this, then was able to open the door and allow the army in.
So it was a very defensible position. Some people have described this spot as the true foundation for the nation of Israel and for the city of Jerusalem itself. You know, most people look at the Temple Mount and they think, that's Jerusalem. Well, it became that, especially during the days of King Herod. But when you come back to the United Kingdom, Saul did a little bit, but David really coalesced the nation around him. It's incredible. It sends chills down your spine to think about. This marks the beginning of that.
And it all started with Joab coming up a shaft like this and capturing the city.
I don't think you can overstate the importance of going down to Warren's shaft or even the discovery of it. There are so many battles and so many cities that are conquered in Canaan by the Israelites. But to have one that's so uniquely conquered, where you climb up through a water shaft, you know, archaeology plays such an important role in helping us understand how legitimate the biblical text is and how accurate the biblical text is. In this spot, from the Gihon Spring, there was water that the city accessed through these tunnels. To have that detail and then to have a place like that found that fits the description is just invaluable. Going underground and exploring the shaft that Warren found and thinking about Joab going up and helping David conquer the city, I think about going back to our conversation with Scott and thinking about the development of weaponry. In 1 Samuel, the text specifies that the Philistines kept the Israelites from working with metals, that there was no blacksmith in Israel. And if they even wanted to sharpen their farm implements, they had to go to the Philistines to get that done. That makes sense with the rest of what we read in 1 Samuel, where it really emphasizes the weapons that Goliath uses, or the shortage of weaponry. At one point, only Saul and Jonathan are the ones with weapons. You can see the development of arrow tips, spearheads, things that are coming out of that layer of archaeology. Scott put forward the possibility that during David's time where he was hiding out with the Philistines, he actually figured out or discovered that technology and brought it with him. And you start to see that become more prolific during the time of the United Kingdom. Is there extra biblical evidence for the existence of David and his kingdom, evidence outside of the biblical text?
Well, honestly, there's not a lot. However, in 1993 and 94, a couple of archaeologists who were digging up at Tel Dan found 3 pieces of stone that when they put it together, it seems to have been written by King Hazael from Aram. And he's describing a battle in which he has defeated the kings of Israel and Judah. However, he doesn't refer to Judah as Judah. He refers to it as the house of David.
Now, when do they date this?
About 150 to 200 years after King David lived.
So the value of this is that there's a foreign king who has defeated the southern kingdom of Judah centuries after David actually lived, but he still refers to the kingdom as the house of David. That would be evidence that David was more than just a city leader or a tribal leader, that he had authority over a much larger area.
From his vantage point, he sees the whole kingdom of Judah as being David's family.
And he has no reason to try to substantiate whether David existed or not.
Right.
He's just stating what he knows to be true.
That's exactly right.
That kingdom was referred to by the house of David.
I think it'd be beneficial for us to return to the city of David. Just within the last couple of decades, they've done some great archaeological work there, and they think they've uncovered part of King David's palace.
The current modern Jerusalem just sprawls all over these hills, across these valleys. Most people, when they enter the city, they have this picture of this bird's eye view from the Mount of Olives looking down, and you see the Temple Mount. But that wasn't there with the city of David. You're talking less than 3,000 people. And so really with the city of David, you have this seed of Israel starting as a nation and growing out from its capital.